Welcome back to the Just As I Am podcast. It's Nicole again, and today we are going to go on a roller coaster. So last week I went on a roller coaster, figuratively speaking, of course. Last week, 2 weeks ago, we had VBS Sunday through Thursday, right? And then we had that Friday off. And then Saturday, we left for church camp with the kids. So, are you thinking, was the ride there a roller coaster? Well, I was driving, so it was a little bit, but we're not going to talk about that now anyways. But we took 11 kids to camp. We took 5 boys and 6 girls. And if you've ever been to Centrikid, they're divided by grades or into colors. So think of it this way. We had 8 young ones just now going, 8 yellows, first time going for all but one, I think. And then we had 3 reds, which is the oldest of the bunch. 2 of them had already been. This was one of their first times going. And we started the road trip. I borrowed Mom's car because her car is a little bit bigger than mine. And if I'm being completely honest, if we brought my car, we wouldn't have made it because we packed enough to survive an apocalypse. But we took Mom's car. Bryant, our pastor, was driving the church van. And fun fact, I got us walkie-talkies because everybody kept making fun of me when I said I wanted a CB radio. Well, who's laughing now? So I got us walkie-talkies because I felt, 1, who doesn't feel cool when they're using a walkie-talkie, but 2, it was easier than calling on the phone or, that kind of stuff. So just instant hit a button, talk, But we started our trip off great, okay? Mom's car has been having trouble with turning on, and it has to do with like a switch or something. I don't know. So anyways, the car turns on at home. We drive there, everything's fine and dandy. Well, then we're all in the car, and I mean all of us are in the car. We're all in the car, we're all in the van, we're fixing to start the car and go, right? Well, Mom's car wouldn't start. Perfect way to start your trip, right? Such a good omen, right? So luckily, Dad has been obsessed with getting like these little jump start boxes. You know what I'm talking about? Like they're the jumper cables, but you don't need another car. You just need this little box thing. And then you just hook it up and you press a button and you start your car. That thing was amazing. It was so very helpful. Okay, so let me tell you this. So we start the car, we go get donuts, we make it all the way to Starkville, right? First time with me seeing Mississippi State. It looked beautiful. I loved it. So we, of course, ate at the Lord's restaurant. We stopped at a Chick-fil-A. When we left, the car started fine and dandy, no problems. Okay, we make it to camp. I drive around while we're at camp because, I needed to do schoolwork and we were in the middle of absolute nowhere. So you can imagine internet was tragic. So we left on a Saturday and I made it all the way to the library and I discovered that the library closed at noon. I'm struggling. I'm stressing. Okay. Trying to figure out what to do. I'm like, okay, well, tomorrow I'm going to go somewhere, hopefully that I can get good internet reception because, your girl can always hotspot if she has good enough service. So, anyways, so I go, back and forth all over the place. No problems with the car, right? None. Blessings. So let me tell you about while we're at camp. We're going to diverge for a minute. So this year's theme was wow factor. Okay? Wow factor. It was an amusement park theme, like Wow Factor was the name of the amusement park, like Six Flags or Universal or Disney World, things like that. And their theme, their mantra for this week or this year was God gives great gifts. And that was what they stuck with. And every day they dug into what they mean by that. They elaborated. They talked about some of those things that, God has given us. And so we get there. We eat dinner. Everything's going great. We go to worship, or really kick off, because it was worship, but it was more like I can't wait. If you've ever been to Centrikid, you know if you know. So we go there, and then I was told to go with our yellow group. So I did not get to sit and stay with the adults, because why would I ever do that? And so I went with them, and they had both groups of yellow because they had 2 Bible study teachers and then the 1 rec teacher because they alternate. But all of them were in here tonight because it was, the start. It was the beginning. It was kickoff. And the one of them, I could tell they were all younger than me. Not that I'm old, but you know what I mean, like late teens, early 20s. And here I am pushing the end of my 20s. So I could tell one of them was getting stressed because them kids were wild and loud, not listening. And finally I got up there and I asked permission first. I asked permission. I talked to all of the teachers, and I got up there and we had to talk with those kids about being respectful. Let's just put it like that. And did they listen? Oh, they sure did. At least for the most part. So anyways, so the next day we ate breakfast, and don't blame me, I headed out to go do schoolwork because I had a lot of things due Sunday. By Monday for sure, but I had things due Sunday too. So skipped out on I can't wait, sorry God. But I went to a Taco Bell because it was in the Walmart parking lot, and I was like, okay, surely to goodness I can get Walmart's Wi-Fi out here, so surely to goodness I can get it in Taco Bell. I checked in the car before I even went in, so I knew that there was Wi-Fi in the area, right? Well, I get in, and I cannot get the Wi-Fi inside the building. Ugh. But my internet was doing all right, so I hotspotted. Well, I was doing great. I was there probably an hour and a half. I don't really remember, but I made it halfway through a test, and then the internet starts getting spotty. Ugh. My gosh. So I got to the car, get on Walmart's Wi-Fi, and I finished my test. Blessings. And then we went back, ate lunch, hung out for a bit, and then I left and went to another place and got ice cream and finished up my homework that I needed done for that day. And then we had dinner, and then we had worship, and worship was wonderful. The kids really enjoyed it, like they were. If you've ever been to a Centrikid or just to a place full of children, I mean, there are adults, don't get me wrong, but like full of kids who are 125% in worship. Like, I mean, hands raised, singing at the top of their lungs. They are feeling God's presence. It is a beautiful sight. It is so precious. It just makes you smile. It makes your heart happy. It's like, yes, we're doing something right. Some of our boys, were wrapped up in each other's arms, and, well, they had their arms around each other's shoulders. Let's not get weird. And they were singing, and they were vibing, and the kids loved it. Each message was pretty good. And then after that, we continued on, and we had church time, and then they had free time. But it was mostly like that every day, except for the 4th day. We had OMC, which, if you don't know what that is, it's organized mass chaos. And that is exactly what it is. And of course, as adults, we're on the orange team. So orange team is at stations to help run the chaos. Because if we weren't, then it wouldn't be OMC. It would just be MC, right? So me being me, I picked a safe zone. And I went to a water station. Because OMC was honestly, I loved the rush, I think. But it wasn't my favorite thing because I didn't want shaving cream on me. I didn't want toothpaste. I didn't want any of that. Like, I remember one time getting a card when I was participating in it, and it said, brush your teeth with toothpaste on your finger. And that was terrible. It was awful. So... But the kids love it. They love the shaving cream. Half the time they just wanted us to throw water at them, which is fine. I can totally do that for you. But everything is Christ-oriented. It has meaning. It has reasoning. They all tie it back to something in the Bible. So that's one of the best parts about it. And when they weren't in Bible study and worship and I Can't Wait, eating or with church groups, we were on an actual camp. So we stayed in cabins. They had gaga pits galore. They had an actual lake so the kids could go canoeing, which they love to do. We had tetherball, which I've learned that I really like. And then it always reminds me of recess. If you know, you know. And they had the thing like with the ring and then the rope, and then you had to swoop it to get it to hook on the thing. I could never do it, and it made me so... I did it once, I think. It made me so mad. And then they had a pickleball thing. I was like, maybe I should get into that. And because, pickleball is all the rage now. And they had a rock wall. And I watched 2 of my kiddos go do the rock wall, and they probably got no more than 4, 5, 6 feet. But I cheered them on. I promise I did. I was like, you can do it. Use that upper body strength. Keep your feet flat, You got it, dude. But they loved it. And once again, it's that bittersweet. Camp is over. We got to go home, But I will tell you, I lost a lot of sleep. And I hold near and dear to my sleep. One day, the first night, we didn't go to bed until like after 11, okay? And then I think second or third night, I was like, we're going to bed. And I almost did it too, but then, somebody's always got to ruin it. But the last 2 nights, I said, I don't care if you fall asleep, but when 10:30 comes, you better be in your bed and the lights are turning off. But by then they were so especially the little ones, they were so tired. They were tapped out even before me. But it was great. And then we had so many little sweetie pie boys. And it was like a duplex. So the girls were on one side and then our boys were on the other. So that was a really good thing for us. And we just did all of our own church meeting on the porch with the rocking chairs. I was literally like an old lady. I was loving it. Okay, took my book out there, rocked on the porch and read. Peace and quiet. Magnificent. Wonderful. Fabulous. Did I finish my book that I've been reading for the past, 6 months or something? No, but I'm getting closer. But they loved it. And quiet time was a struggle bus. But we spent a lot of quality time with each other, and I think that was really good. They give us these books, okay? It's our name tag, but it's our weekly curriculum, I guess you could say. So, and it also has the schedule on it. So they give us these lanyards, right? And they're clear on both sides. And so you can see everybody's name, their church, their group, or whatever. And then on the back, it's the schedule. and then in some of the places you fill in the blank. Most of the time our kids would keep up with it. A lot of our boys got theirs wet, which I don't know how, unless they just went and jumped in the lake. They did have water activities. They also had tracks, and a lot of ours had water tracks. So I don't know if that's how they did that, but they managed. So when we were trying to like have quiet time, it's day whatever, page whatever, they were like, my book is wet. And we were like, ew. So we couldn't really do anything, but we tried to get them to take their Bibles everywhere. And that's one thing that I really loved, was like, oh, I need my Bible. I brought my Bible. I need it. I've got it. It's in my bag. Let's roll. Like, it was, which I am a stickler for a Bible. I would rather look it up in an actual book than the Bible app or something. And one of ours was like, oh, but I've got the Bible app. And I said, honey, that needs internet. We don't have that out here. And she was like, oh. So it was a really good week. And I always love to get, I know we probably don't get as much out of it as the kids do in a way, but I love that we also get stuff out of it, because the adults, once the kids go to Bible study and rec, they have their own Bible study with that week's pastor, the camp pastor. And we had our own books, I think. But it was nice because it's really low key. And, we're just talking to each other. We take prayer requests, we ask for, it's just what's going on with our church, what's special, and so I really enjoy that. But they are some crazy things. I love those kids. They are wild. You should have seen them for OMC. They made all of us girls our colored tutus. So we had 3 red tutus and 3, 4 yellow tutus, and then we had the 3 orange. Well, I've never worn a tutu in my adult life, probably even my teenage life. I don't know. And I didn't have enough orange to go all the way around, so I decided that I was going to put all of my tulle on one side of the belt band, the waistband, or whatever you want to call it. And I stuck my head in it, and then I flipped it back, and I said, look, I'm Mufasa. And I walked outside to the adults, and they were tripping too, and they said, it looks like you're going to be Peach's bride. And I was like, oh no, because the mascot for Centrikid now is a peach, and his name is Peach, and he's really crazy, and obviously he's orange. I said, no thank you. And I was trying to, I don't want to say argue, that's not really the right term, but I was trying to tell our group leader, who's been going to Centrikid since I went to Centrikid, like 20 years ago, that our mascot was Popcorn. We never had Peach as a mascot. And she was like, no, you had Peach, because it was Popcorn, then it was this, and then it was Peach. And I was like, no. I said, I don't remember that. And so I went to see you at the camp store, which of course it has all kinds of stuff for kids, but I just, because the kids were raving about it, and plus I just wanted to go, get out, do whatever, because they all went swimming, and I just didn't really want to do that. But I did bring my swimsuit. I just chose not to do it. And I went down there because it's people closer to my age, because some of them actually were my age, and I was very shocked. But I went down there, and I was trying to ask the one girl who was at the, cash register. And I was like, okay, how old are you? I was like, this is going to sound weird, but how old are you? And she said she was like 22 or something. I said, I was like, I don't know if you'll remember or not. And I was trying to tell her about this, and I was like, do you remember, or who was And she said, I don't. Well, then another one who was working, she just came in for this weekend or something, and she chimed in and she goes, did you go to Mississippi College? And she said something. She said, are you with North Jackson? Are you with Mama Gwen? And I was like, yeah. And she said, no, or I said something. I was like, how old are you? And she goes, I'm 28. And I said, oh, no, she said she was going to be 28. And I was like, oh, me too. And I asked her, and she was like, oh, no, it was totally popcorn. She's like, Peach came at like 2010 or something. I said, oh, yeah, I was out by then because I was in high school by then. But I got case closure. It was magnificent. It was wonderful. I hope that I'm telling you enough about this information and not just rambling on about randomness and myself. But I do enjoy it, even if I act like I don't. I did have to take naps because I can't really keep myself awake if I'm just sitting still, which has become a really big problem. So if you have any ideas on what that cause might be, let me know, because I'm really on a struggle bus. So anyways, so I know I got late night sleeps, but I had to take naps to recoup. So I missed a little bit, but I tried to interact with the kiddos. For sure mine. Sometimes random ones would come up to me and I'd still help them out because that's what I'm here for. But they loved it. Wow factor. And then there was Wowzer the bear. And they had to say like wow wow wowzer or wowie wow wow or something like that. And it made me think of like wow wow wubsy. Does anybody remember that? So anyways, side note. But the videos that went along with it this year were really great. They kind of did like the diary of a wimpy kid, kind of, sort of. That's like what the vibe was. But it was really good and it was really meaningful. And I was like, I love that. That is so good. And then of course they leave you on a cliffhanger each time. But the kids loved it. They loved going on the stage and battling for their team to get points and all the good things. And I love when they want to have their Bibles and read and they want to learn. Like, that is such an important thing. And, you know, some things have to come naturally and then some things are instilled, but I believe this is something that is both, that we have instilled in them, but we live that way so much that it kind of comes naturally to them. I just think it's pretty awesome. The verse for Centrikid this year was 1 John 3:1, and I'll read you the two versions again. And this is the CSB, and it says, "See what great love the Father has given us, that we should be called God's children. And we are." And then that's where they ended the verse at camp. But it continues, and it says, "The reason the world does not know us is that it didn't know him." Oh, how beautiful. So that was the CSB version. And then the NLT version says, "See how very much our Father loves us, for he calls us his children, and that is what we are. But the people who belong to this world don't recognize that we are God's children because they don't know him." One of the missions things that they tried to push this year was it Ethiopia? They tried to talk about, you know, if you donate whatever, $6 takes care of one child being able to go to school and all that. And at school, they get fed, they get, you know, education, and they get to learn about Jesus. And then another one was, there is this Haitian church here in the U.S. that was opened because the adults speak their native language, but the children more so speak English. So if they went to a regular church, they wouldn't get that English, or they wouldn't get it said to them how they would prefer, or whatever, you know, something along those lines. And so this couple opened up a church, and yes, the adults, take care of a lot of things, but the kids are the ones who lead the worship, lead the ministry, all sorts of things. And so when we give to missions, we give to their cause, we give to people who are wanting to start a church, but they just need a little help. And the kids really loved that. They raised over $1,000, which was really good. And I could hear them one night because we were just doing the collection, so that way just one person could take it and turn it in, or our older ones could take it and turn it in. And they were trying to calculate how much money in on this and that, and they were like, it takes $6 for one child. And so I loved that math. I loved that they remembered that, and that stuck with them and their decision. And so I know that it made and they cheered so loud when they heard how much they collected in the offering. But I could continue to talk about this, and I could continue to ramble for a long time, but I am going to end this on some notes from the kiddos, some of the kiddos that went with us, and let you hear them tell you what they loved about camp. So here they are.
All right. So my favorite things were swimming in the swimming pool, OMC, and weird science, and I want to talk about I Can't Wait and all of these. So I Can't Wait, I like the music and the Peaches videos. Worship, what was worship?
Worship was at night when we went after dinner.
Oh,
That's when we had good music.
I like the music at worship. Tracks, my favorite was Weird Science. Tracks was pretty good. Bible study was pretty good also. OMC was awesome, my favorite. So yeah. So my favorite things at camp were I Can't Wait, and I liked I Can't Wait because I got to watch the two boys. He's a goat wow factor, and I liked it because he bonded with another person who used to be a bully. But he was actually being nice to them.
What else did you like?
I also liked Tracks because we had a lot of him in that Tracks. And I also liked C because he got to have a lot of fun.